Hey guys, what is up? AwesomeTheSauce here. Hope you guys are having a great day. Today we have a really awesome video on something I've actually been wanting to do for a couple of days now, but we're about to do a spell review. I'm really excited about these specific spells because I think this is the first time in a very, very long time that every school has gotten a good utility. Now, what you might have seen in the thumbnail is that these are actually treasure cards, and that's because you actually unlock them with the Decathlon, and we're only seeing them now because this is the first time we're getting a second round of Decathlon. I still have to do Decathlon because now I actually have a reason to do it, but some of these spells have the ability to completely change PvP at all levels. So I thought I would go through each of them, just show it to you guys, because I don't think a lot of people know about this. So enough talking. Let's look at the new TCs, the new spells, the unreleased spells that are coming into the spiral. The death one is something I'm super excited about. Now again, this won't cover how to get them. They're craftable basically, like other Decathlon spells. I'm not really going to talk about the difficulty, but let's just take a look at how good it is. Bah! This is one of the best spells that I have ever seen in my life. Now if you go through a lot of death spells, it's very rare that you'll find something that actually has any utility on it besides a drain. The only real utility that I've ever seen on a spell besides drain is on Winged Sorrow, and it's a weakness. The only problem is that that's gated behind, it's gated behind a Shadow Pip. So that 30 weakness is really good, but at the end of the day, how many Shadow Pips are you gonna get? And how many Shadow Pips can you afford using on a Winged Sorrow when you want to set up for a Strike, or if you want to do fewer Pip hits? A 30% weakness is a really powerful amount, and the fact that it's on a 3-Pip spell, it's really dope. I can see this being in a freak counter, so you can break the weakness that's on you and replace it with the weakness on them. The 3 pips, like all these spells, are great because you can pip conserve, so if you're at full pips and you use it, there's a good chance that you can still end up with full pips except one new pip. So it's a really solid combo starter in my opinion. It's comparable to Shift Green Oak in many ways, except instead of the blade, you just get a better weakness. And honestly, instead of 3 pips that you can't really use power pips with, now you're talking about 3 pips that you can use power pips with. This is a meta of pip conserve. As you'll notice with all these spells, a lot of wizards at max, they will have something close to like 75 pip conserve if they have the best gear. So you can very reliably do these spells and pip conserve out of it, which makes all of these in essence almost like 2-pip spells. I think that Death has needed something like this for an extremely long time, and the fact that it's even available in a TC form is really dope. So for that reason, I'm giving this one a generous ass 9 out of 10. Let's move on to Storm. Bah! I love this spell so much because it's literally, again, it's so obviously just a utility spell, but for Storm, it is by far one of the most needed utility spells ever. It's a 3-pip hit and blade remover. Now, the only comparable spell, as you might notice, that goes by the same name, is Catch of the Day. But what Catch of the Day does is that for 5 pips, it removes 2 positive buffs. Now, that's great and all, but the problem with this is that unless you pip conserve, you cannot combo this into a Scion, which is why you really want to remove blades to begin with. Now, the same with glow bugs. You can do a glow bugs into a Scion, but you need to pip conserve. So the reason why a 3-pip version of a blade remover spell is so good is because 1, you don't need to pip conserve, and 2, if you do pip conserve with it, not only can you Scion, you could follow it up with a 4-pip spell. So the idea behind using pip conserve on a 3-pip blade remover, it is an extremely good idea. I give this a perfect 10 out of 10. This is by far, in my opinion, the best spell TC form that Storm has ever seen. I think Storm Beetle might be the only one that's better. I genuinely believe that out of all the TCs I've ever seen for Storm, this one is #1, if not #2. Let's move on to the next one. Bah! This is a weird one for me personally, because I actually don't like War Mantles being involved in PvP. That being said, the only reason I kind of don't mind, especially in the context of balance, is because a lot of minions that balance can use actually does mantles. So like the Mander minion, the Clockwork minion, both of them do mantle. And for that reason alone, if you could combo a mantle with a -50 mantle, you're looking at a really airtight play. If you couple that with the fact that you really are going to be pip conserving a lot as a balance, because your best spells, whether you're talking about Mana Burn, whether you're talking about Savage Paw, whether you're talking about Gaze, whether you're even talking about something that fewer people might use, like Diffuses, a lot of spells will rely on that pip conserve, so that extra new pip that you get from the pip conserve can really be used on this spell. I honestly view this spell more as like a last resort. If someone has like an Ifrit weakness on you, or someone maybe, I don't know, juju'd you and they're gonna like Scion, I guess, out of it. Or if someone towers, or if someone bombs and you want to make sure that they cannot shield the next turn. This is that type of move. What I do like about it is that it is a treasure card. You can't really enchant it. So it essentially is basically just getting rid of a shield and mantling. Am I going to use this that much? No. But it does give balance a last resort kind of card. Much like Stormifrit or Krampus. I'm going to give this a solid middle of the ground 5 out of 10. It's not amazing. It could save a game or two. But it's not going to be something you're going to need to rely on, in my opinion. I think it would be very, very weird if you relied on this. Especially given all the other tools Balance has, including regular mantles. So, I don't know. Maybe it could be good. Maybe it's not that good. It is interesting to see that Balance has some sort of utility beyond just weaknesses for once. But without further ado, let's move on to another one I'm super excited about. Yo, y'all are not ready for this. Let's hit him up with that bop. I love anything that hits and heals on life. When you couple 130 heal with a crit strategy, you're looking at a very, very solid heal. You're looking at something like 400, 500. A lot of the times, you're going to want to get rid of a shield and heal, or get rid of an infection and a weakness, or get rid of a shield and an infect. There's a lot of combinations where that could work. Now, here's the thing. I don't think this spell, the Goat Monk spell, is as good as Leprechaun Spellament upgraded thing. That was a word. Now, obviously, the heal is better on the Goat Monk, but the difference is that you can actually put a Radical on this and make it better. And this isn't even the fully upgraded version of Leprechaun. So for that reason alone, and the pip cost, I would say that it's not as good. But at the end of the day, not everyone has this. And the fact that now, instead of just spending a bunch of crowns on packs, or spending an endless amount of time farming Mimic for these Spellaments, there might be a craftable alternative to a hit and heal. So for that reason alone, it's great. If this spell didn't exist, if this Spellament didn't exist, I would give this like a 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10. It's definitely really, really good utility-wise. It's very situational. You're gonna be better off healing in general with a 2-pip heal and hit. But this is a pretty close second. So it's a mixed bag for me. I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10. Me personally, I'm not going to try to get it because I do have the Leprechaun. But I could totally see if you don't have the Leprechaun, especially if you have good pip conserve on your life, I can see why this is like a really, really big game changer. It could be. Maybe they'll add that as a Goat Monk Spellman upgrade one day, and I could really get behind that, especially if it's a bigger heal or an enchantable heal. So I'm pretty excited for the future of the spell, but let's move on to the next one. Yo, I'm not excited for this one. Oh my god, brace yourselves. Bop. This is like, this is a Dookie Butter spell. I assume, I have to assume, otherwise I don't know what's going on. I assume that it steals a ward and then hits. The only problem is, I'm pretty sure for 3 pips, unless you're dealing with like a snow shield, you're almost always going to be better off just hitting with like an enchanted ass, you know, evil snowman. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't, like, unless it's like, because even if it's a thermic, which most people use in PvP, that steel ward isn't going to do anything because it steals the fire shield. So, I don't, maybe if you're going against a fire, I could see you stealing the fire shield and hitting with this and pip conserving and doing some crazy things. This could be like a really good spell specifically against fire. It might be slightly better than Cold Iron in that scenario. But it's against Storm, it's not going to be good. Against most things, it's not going to be good. Very, very situational spell at best. I'm not even going to waste your time with this. I'm giving this like a 3 out of 10. It could be useful. I could see against a fire. You steal a thermic. I don't think it's that good. I don't think it's that good. Yo, the fire one's a little flag. I'll be honest. Bop! I like the idea of a 3-pip hit that steals a blade, mainly because if you're running glass cannon like every other fire, you're gonna want to get rid of blades. So that's a really good solid thing. It gets rid of weaknesses, gets rid of shields. I think, again, it's very situational. I can't really think of a situation where this is better than an elf, but honestly, the damage is not that bad on it. Like 320 damage and you steal like, I don't know, like a 50 blade or something. That could be pretty dope. If you're going against another fire that happens to blade for some reason, that could be like a mind-boggling move. I'm gonna give this like a 4 out of 10 maybe. I think I'll give it a 4 out of 10. I don't think it's terrible. I think it's pretty situationally good like all of these. I rate it. It's not terrible. Let's move on. The spell might look a little familiar to you. Bah! Now, the reason it might look familiar to you is because Myth Banshee is a spell that already exists in the game. It does 190 damage, and it stuns for a turn. And unlike this legendary treant, if you notice, the Myth Banshee that I'm looking at, it has 90% accuracy versus 75. And honestly, the damage is almost the same. So for that reason alone, I would say in most situations, you're probably just going to want a Myth Banshee anyways. Just the accuracy is really good. You know, I mean, I guess if you have 25 accuracy and you want to do the extra damage, maybe it could be good. I guess, yeah, hit and stun is always going to be good, especially when it's very low pips. Like, 3 pips is as low as you can get without making it utterly broken. So I can see why this is a 3-pip spell. It's a very myth-oriented spell. I totally get that. The extra damage is great, but utility-wise, since Myth has had this for so long, I don't think it's that amazing. So I'm going to give it like a 5 out of 10. Very middle ground. Myth Banshee itself is a very, very good spell to use in PvP, because breaking shields and stunning, that could be the make or break. That could really be the make or break, especially when pip conserve is involved. So for that, like a 3-pip hit and stun, I'm not saying that's a bad thing. It's just because it kind of already exists in the game, and the accuracy, you lose 15%. I think there's a lot of situations where Myth Banshee could actually be better than Legendary Treant. Well, y'all, I hope you guys enjoyed this spell review. I'm very excited about some of these. I'm definitely going to try to get these spells on all of my wizards. Maybe with the exception of Myth. I don't think I need the Myth one, but I definitely could see why all of the other ones could actually give me a win. It might just be like a 1 copy in the side deck kind of thing, and wait for the moment to stun on them. You know what I'm saying, bro? It could be a pretty cool thing. I'm probably going to start doing Decathlon now, so peep that on Twitch. Follow my Twitch, it's in the description. As always, drop a like if you enjoyed, leave us a review. There's tons of links in the description, including my Twitch, my Twitter, my Discord, my Instagram, and my Patreon. Thank you for all the love on Patreon. If somebody hasn't told you you're awesome today, they doing something wrong, so stay awesome. And yeah, yo.